Did you know that over 75% of adults experience moderate to high levels of stress every single day, turning what should be a normal response into a silent epidemic that reshapes brains worldwide? This isn't just about feeling overwhelmed during rush hour or deadlines. It's a daily assault on your most vital organ, the brain, happening right now as you listen to this. Today, we're diving deep into what stress does to your brain every day, revealing how this invisible force alters your thoughts, emotions, and decisions in profound ways. From the moment you wake up to bedtime, chronic stress triggers changes that most people never notice until it's too late. Understanding these effects empowers you to reclaim control over your mental sharpness and well-being. Chronic stress isn't merely an annoyance, it's a relentless attacker on your brain's core functions, leading to measurable cognitive decline that erodes your ability to focus, learn, and remember over time. Imagine trying to juggle work emails, family demands, and endless notifications. Each stressor floods your system, impairing neural pathways responsible for concentration. Studies show that prolonged exposure shrinks key brain regions, making simple tasks feel Herculean as attention spans shorten and mental fog sets in. This decline manifests in everyday struggles, forgetting where you parked your car, blanking on a colleague's name mid-conversation, or staring at a report unable to process it. Mood disorders follow suit, with stress amplifying anxiety that spirals into panic attacks or depression that drains joy from hobbies you once loved. The brain's reward centers dull under this barrage, turning small pleasures into flat experiences while irritability spikes, straining relationships. Over weeks or months, what starts as just stressed evolves into persistent low mood, sleep disturbances, and emotional volatility that disrupts professional performance and personal life. Worse still, overall brain function impairment compounds these issues as stress disrupts neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and form new connections. Neurons fire less efficiently, synaptic strength weakens, and inflammation builds up, mimicking early signs of aging decades ahead of schedule. People under chronic stress report higher rates of burnout, decision paralysis, and even physical symptoms like headaches tied back to cerebral changes. In high-pressure jobs or caregiving roles, this leads to errors, missed opportunities, and a cycle where stress begets more stress, accelerating hippocampal atrophy by up to 20% in severe cases. Consider the broader implications. Societies with rising stress levels see productivity drops, healthcare costs soar from related mental health treatments, and innovation stalls as creative thinking falters. Daily commuters, parents, students all grapple with this, unaware that their brand's executive functions are quietly unraveling. Without intervention, cognitive reserve depletes, raising vulnerability to dementia later in life. The challenge is real and urgent. Stress doesn't discriminate, infiltrating every routine from morning coffee rushes to evening scroll sessions, demanding awareness to halt the damage. To grasp the scale, reflect on how traffic jams or social media arguments trigger the same response as life-threatening dangers our ancestors faced. Yet modern life offers no escape, prolonging the assault. This mismatch between ancient wiring and contemporary pressures creates a perfect storm for brain impairment, where prefrontal cortex activity drops, leading to impulsive choices and regretful outbursts. Mood swings become the norm, with serotonin and dopamine imbalances fostering hopelessness. Breaking this cycle starts with recognizing the problem's depth, as unchecked stress doesn't just pass, it rewires your reality permanently. At the heart of stress's brain invasion lies cortisol, the hormone unleashed by your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis whenever threats, real or perceived, arise. In short bursts, cortisol sharpens focus and mobilizes energy, but daily bombardment keeps levels elevated, bathing the brain in toxicity that corrodes delicate structures. This biological mechanism unfolds silently. Stress signals from the amygdala activate the hypothalamus, prompting pituitary gland release of ACTH, which stimulates adrenal cortisol production. The hippocampus, your memory headquarters, bears the brunt first. High cortisol inhibits neurogenesis here, shrinking dendritic branches and reducing volume by disrupting BDNF, a growth factor essential for new neuron formation. Everyday forgetfulness, misplacing keys or blanking on appointments, stems from this, as stress impairs long-term potentiation, the cellular basis of learning. Over months, spatial navigation suffers too, evident in getting lost in familiar places. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, governing executive functions like planning and impulse control, atrophies under cortisol's assault. Gray matter density decreases, weakening connections to other regions and fostering procrastination or rash decisions during stressful commutes or arguments. Mood regulation falters as VMPFC activity dips, amplifying negative rumination that keeps you awake at night. Contrastingly, the amygdala hypertrophies, heightening fear responses and making minor setbacks feel catastrophic. This imbalance tilts the brain toward survival mode, prioritizing threats over calm reflection, which explains road rage or snapping at loved ones over trivialities. Neurotransmitter shifts exacerbated. Glutamate surges excite neurons excessively, while GABA inhibition wanes, leading to anxiety loops. Chronic elevation also promotes oxidative stress, damaging DNA in brain cells and accelerating inflammation via cytokines. Deeper still, stress disrupts the blood-brain barrier, allowing inflammatory agents entry and fueling microglial activation that prunes synapses indiscriminately. White matter integrity suffers as myelin sheaths degrade, slowing signal transmission and contributing to that brain lag during high-demand tasks. Hormonal cascades extend to sex steroids like testosterone and estrogen, whose suppression under stress further impairs cognition and mood. Sleep architecture warps, too. Less deep REM means poorer memory consolidation, perpetuating the cycle. Vascular effects compound damage. Cortisol constricts cerebral blood flow, starving oxygen-dependent regions and mimicking stroke precursors. Gut-brain axis involvement adds layers as stress alters microbiome, spiking neurotoxins that cross to the brain. These mechanisms interplay daily, from cortisol peaks at 8 a.m. post-alarm to evening surges from news feeds, cumulatively reshaping neural architecture without mercy. Pivotal research from a landmark study on chronic stress exposed participants to prolonged psychosocial pressures, revealing hippocampal volumes reduced by 15 to 20% compared to controls, directly correlating with memory deficits on standardized tests. MRI scans showed dendritic retraction and glial scarring, underscoring irreversible changes without intervention. This wasn't lab abstraction. Real-life echoes rang true in Alzheimer's caregivers who endured years of vigilance, exhibiting prefrontal thinning and amygdala enlargement mirroring dementia patients decades younger. One compelling case followed a high-powered executive juggling 80 hours weeks. After 2 years, cognitive assessments plummeted, with fMRI confirming cortisol-induced atrophy. He described decisions once intuitive now labored, relationships fractured by unchecked irritability until stress reduction reversed some damage, highlighting plasticity's window. Similarly, a study of 1,200 stressed workers found 40% developed clinical anxiety, with brain scans linking it to hyperactive amygdalas suppressing rational prefrontal input. In military personnel post-deployment, chronic stress yielded profound effects. 30% showed PTSD with structural brain shifts, including 10% hippocampal loss tied to flashbacks and hypervigilance. A longitudinal trial tracked stressed students. By the semester's end, their cortices resembled aged brains, with verbal fluency halved. These examples illuminate how daily stressors, emails, finances, pandemics, accumulate into transformative damage, demanding immediate action. Epidemiological data reinforces. Regions with high stress indices report 25% higher depression rates, brains scarred by cortisol's toll. Recovery stories inspire. A veteran reclaiming cognition via mindfulness proved reversibility, shrinking his amygdala while regrowing dendrites. This climax underscores stress's sleeky power. Ignore it, and your brain pays. Confront it, and restoration beckons. In recap, daily stress ravages the brain via cortisol overload, shrinking the hippocampus for memory woes, dulling the prefrontal cortex for poor decisions, and inflaming the amygdala for endless anxiety, all demanding proactive management to safeguard mental vitality. Prioritizing stress control preserves cognitive edge and emotional balance essential for thriving. Drop in the comments how stress hits your brain daily. Share stories of fog or mood dips to connect and learn. Watch our next video on proven stress-busting techniques to shield your mind. Hit play now and subscribe for more brain health insights.